And we're live. Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to Thursday Inspired Thoughts. I just wanted to jump on for a few moments. I'm taking a break from getting settled at the new place. You are in the new backyard, Kimberly and Tyler's new backyard. So a little different surrounding from this point forward, but we'll get settled in and it'll be great. So I did want to make sure to still jump on, and I won't show you around the house yet because boxes are boring. But once we get a little bit settled, at least, I'll give you a little tour. But I did want to jump on today because with a lot of the posts I've been seeing, the comments I've been seeing, the personal messages I've received, a certain theme has bubbled up quite a bit. And obviously, last week I had shared the email that someone had written with their opinion of my physical appearance, and the theme that's bubbled up many times is people sharing that that they've been through that as well and had people judge them, but even more so that we tend to judge ourselves so much. We tend to have these beliefs about ourselves. We believe in some way, shape, or form we're not enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not skinny enough. I don't know enough. I'm not capable. All these feelings of unworthiness, and however it is that they've come to be, whether they become stories in our mind and in our hearts that were originally something someone spoke to us, or stories that we kind of concoct and create within ourselves based on the life's events that we're responding to. Regardless, the fact that they still live in our conscious belief system now is something that we actually have to own and be responsible for. Because something that I've learned along the way is that a belief is just a thought you keep thinking. That's really all it is. And the more you think that thought, the further, the hold it has, the deeper the hold it has. The deeper the belief, it becomes. And I used to think that because there was maybe something that stuck with me, when I was a kid, I was bullied quite a bit because I was a bit overweight, and I remember I was in 6th grade, and a boy named Chuck, his name was Chuck Garrison. Hi, Holly. Hearts back to you. And he sat behind me in class, and he raised his hand one day and asked the teacher if they could get Kimberly an adult chair because her hips were hanging off the kids' chair. And, here I am. That was age like 11. And, here I am remembering it word for word. So, and at the time, at age 10, I know there's gentlemen on the on the screen here, or on the line here, so forgive me if this makes no sense to you, but I actually started my monthly when I was 10 years old, and that's pretty young. And so my body started developing, which was another thing that I was kind of teased about. But so I had boobs and I had hips when I was only 11 years old, and so this boy Chuck saying that really stuck with me. And so for a huge part of my life, I was like, well, I just have this deep-rooted belief that my hips are too big. And it stemmed from that particular instance. And the fact of the matter is, there's no such thing as a deep-rooted belief. That's what I've learned. There's no such thing as a deep-rooted belief. These are just thoughts that you continue to pick up. And it just so happens that, for every day and for many days, for many years after that occurred, I continue to pick that thought up. I continue to pick the belief up and carry it on, because I'm 45 years old now. Chuck is no longer sitting behind me saying, hey, you have big hips. That's not happening. So the only one that can think that there's something wrong with my hips would be me. And I'm the only one that can continue to perpetuate that belief, if that makes sense. And there are, so many beliefs that bubble up within all of us based on our upbringing, based on the culture that we live in, based on the conditioning from everything around us, from our parents, our teachers, our friends, our neighbors, media for sure plays a huge role. And the vast majority of what we come to believe, the perspective that we have on ourselves, on the world around us, on the people around us, studies have shown that that actually gets formed within the first 7 years of our life. And we're so impressionable. And so, you no doubt have beliefs within you that you've felt maybe at some point are deep-rooted. My father was a big proponent for being very tight with money. We didn't have a lot of money growing up, and so he always was very tight-knit with his money, and was always saying things like, money doesn't grow on trees, and you have to work really hard, and things like that. And that became a belief that I carried with me for a long time, and have over the last decade begun to release that and choose new beliefs. And that's ultimately what I wanted to jump on to say in my 2.5 hours of sleep state that I'm in right now, is just to say that if you have a belief that is not serving you, if you have a belief that when the thought comes to you and it doesn't feel good, it doesn't make you feel stronger or more powerful or more capable, that means it's not serving you, and you can choose to lay it down. Like, you can choose, and I know it sounds simpler than it is. It does take some conscious choice, some conscious effort, I should say, but you can choose to look elsewhere and choose a different perspective, because that's ultimately what it boils down to, is the perspective we choose to put on the forefront of our experience. And you can either choose to continue to think in whatever way, shape, or form, I'm not good enough, or it's not fair, or life's not fair, and so on and so forth, or you can choose a different perspective for yourself and ensure that it's one that is more empowering, one that when you think it, you feel stronger, you feel more capable. And it does take a bit of time because of the conditioning throughout our lives. It's almost like we spend our whole adult lives kind of unlearning everything that we learned growing up. And Megan, to you as well. And but it really is beneficial. It really, really is well worth your time and attention to take a look at the beliefs that you may hold, knowing that a belief is just a thought you keep thinking. It's just a thought you keep thinking. There's nothing deep-rooted. It's just one that you've chosen to continue to pick up. And you can choose not to pick it up. You can choose to pick up a different thought, which will then, as you pick it up more and more, will become a new belief. And it actually is something that's been proven with scientific backing as well, because we start to fire new pathways in the brain. And whereas we've conditioned ourselves to maybe initially have an immediate negative response to something, you can actually start choosing different thoughts, different perspectives, and start creating a new pathway in your brain, to where when you, at a later point, face the exact same situation, a new thought pattern will fire because you've practiced it more. So it really is about practicing. Isn't life just a practice? We always talk about yoga as a practice. Like, it's not about being perfect. You're not performing anything. It's just a practice. I honestly think life day to day it's a practice. Everything that we do, we're just doing the best that we can with what we have. And, I've learned a ton over the last, especially decade, over the last 45 years, but over the last decade, I've learned a ton that has allowed me to step more into the light of who I am and the power of who I am. And if there's anything that I can continue to share that will help you do the same, that's what I want to do on these Thursday mornings with our inspired thoughts. But that's the one that came to me for today because of all the notes that I've seen and the messages I've received with regards to, I'm my own worst critic. I've had other people say negative things to me, but I'm the one that really beats myself up the most for not being able to lose the last 5 pounds one shared with me, or, not being able to keep up with my schedule one shared with me. One feeling like she is constantly juggling and unable to maintain, being a mom, being a wife, teaching classes, and all of the above, and always feeling like she's not enough. And that's crazy. That's crazy. You are enough. You are enough, and you are worthy, and you are worthy of all the joy this life has to offer you. So I just want to encourage you, if you have those thoughts that come up, those beliefs that bubble up within you that do not serve to make you stronger, then it is up to you to make a conscious choice to pick up a different thought, And instead of thinking I'm not enough, remind yourself I am enough, and see how that feels. And again, it does take practice, so stay with it. Just stay with it, because it doesn't happen overnight, but stay with it, because you are enough, and you deserve to live in the fullness of who you are and be able to experience this amazing life in the fullness of all that it has to offer. So, at the risk of now starting to ramble, because I am sleep deprived from moving yesterday, I am going to jump off and just tell you to enjoy the rest of your day, and I will look forward to connecting with you next Thursday with whatever I might feel inspired to share, or whatever I might hear from you that inspires a topic. Next Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, probably here in the new backyard. Or maybe I'll show you around a little bit if the boxes are a little bit maybe out of the way and I can actually walk through the rooms. But otherwise, have an awesome rest of your day, and look forward to next Thursday, if not sooner, us crossing paths again. Mwah! Much love.